the growth of online and e-commerce, we're seeing retail undergoing a drastic change, transformations, and evolving a lot. You can buy pretty much anything with a click of a button. So how do retailers, how do fashion retailers make sure that they continue to motivate today's consumers to visit physical retail spaces? Our panel today is going to include Anand Aiyer, SVP and Business Head Head-Easybuy, Jacqueline Kapur, CEO Ayesha, Rajesh Jain, Managing Director and CEO Lacoste, Ramneek Khurana, co-founder Lenskart, Vishak Kumar, CEO Madura Fashion and Lifestyle, and to moderate the discussion, Abhishek Ganguly, Managing Director, Puma India.
I think we as a panel have been given something very interesting, and interesting from the perspective that a lot of brands are today going through this thought of what should be their distribution structure. With e-commerce being the big opportunity in the last 5 years, more so now than the last 5 years maybe. What is in it for offline brand stores? And that's the perspective that how does today, what does a brand store stand for? What does an exclusive store or offline store stand for? And I think we've got a great list of people. And I would first start with Vineeth, who heads Agio. And given the business that he does, the first question that I have, and to kickstart this, is that do you think that we really need offline retail?
Well, that's a loaded question, especially to somebody who spent a lot of time in the brick and mortar business. I spent a large part of my career in the brick and mortar business. But undoubtedly, the fact is that stores are an integral part of the whole consumer journey. The question is, are they the only part of the consumer journey? We have always treated stores. The point that I was trying to make is stores are now not the only single point in the customer's buying cycle. There are multiple points, and a brand needs to cast its net wider than just focus on trying to get everything out of a consumer from a store. He needs to use multiple elements of the mix to be able to draw consumers to his brand, not his store. So stores are an integral part of the business, and they will continue to be an integral part of the business.
Do you think it's important for a platform like yours to have brands which have offline presence? Does that help?
Absolutely. I think it's critical that, there are lots of facts and figures out in the market. The fact of the matter is that 80% of the younger audience today trust a review by a faceless stranger more than an ad on a television. I mean, let's put that in perspective. He is willing to trust a stranger's review of your product vis-a-vis a multi-million-dollar ad on a television. Over 80% of them are getting influenced by what they see and what they read on their digital devices. In India, for example, many of the youngsters in my office too, they don't own a television set. They don't buy newspapers. They watch it on their little screens. They live their lives on that. They get digitally influenced by that. So it's critical that brands have both a digital presence and maybe a touch and feel presence too. Touch and feel presence is critical so that it adds to credibility of the brand in many ways. E-commerce or digital businesses have undoubtedly reduced the so-called entry barriers into this world of businesses. And there are a lot of these insurgent brands, should I call, who have sort of changed the playing field for everybody else. Playing field for what I would call the traditional brands. The traditional brands may have been caught napping because the new insurgent brands have been able to identify the new consumer expectation And he has delivered on that expectation. And so if you look at the growth numbers, especially in advanced countries, almost 25% of the growth is coming to these insurgent brands, which is coming at the cost of traditional brands. So there is no doubt about the fact that there is the need to build a multifaceted business, which is what we'd like to get away by calling it omni-channel. Omni-channel is a very, very small part of the business. Omni-channel is just, many of us call it fulfillment, but stores who are able to build credibility through their stores, through their content, through their product, are the stores are the businesses or the brands that will survive and be very successful in future.
All right. Jacqueline, I come to you. What does stores stand for you, and what do you think is the proposition going forward?
Well, I started with offline and not with online, so I know exactly what a store should look like. I know exactly how my MBO stands should look like. I still haven't figured out how my online presence should really look like on, let's say, a website like yours. Because there I'm only selling the product. I'm not really tapping into the brand. I don't tap into what I want to, bring to my target customer. What is the image I have in my store? So that's why for me it's much easier to talk about what my shops should look like. And my shops have, developed from when I started 10 years ago. And it used to be all in black because black was my color. Now it's all white and pink. And the most important thing for me is that my target customer, which is the millennial, 20, 16, 25-year-old female, can identify with. And they can identify not only with the product, but also with the value my company stands for. And now what kind of value can you give to an earring or to a necklace? I mean, it's very difficult to put any emotional connect to that. Yes, you can beautify the kids and you can, you can look good and you can, according to the occasion, you can look different and you can afford it. So the obvious thing is that it's an entertainment. Like if I can afford a movie ticket or a McDonald's burger, I can afford an Ayesha earring. So, and you can take that home and you can keep it. So that's something which is obviously right in that target customer's interest. But I'm trying to go a little bit above and try to tap into the emotional field of that customer. So what we have started many years ago is we have something which is called our Project Girl Power. And it just, taps a little bit into that thought that, the Indian girl or the global girl is independent, is powerful, is equal, can do what she wants to do. And it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, so all our VM is about that, all our photo shoots are about that, a lot of our social media posts is about that. And we start a conversation with everybody who walks into the store by giving them a choice of stickers, and our sales executives then start, so which one is you? What do you identify with? And then there is a connect which goes immediately away from just the product. And when you look at social media nowadays, either it's a post where you look good, or it's about something which is your it's a quote, it's a statement. So we're trying to combine both in our stores. And we're not a very big company. We don't have a lot of money for marketing. And just with tapping into this right field, and truly so, not because it's a marketing campaign, but because our whole team really believes in it. Nobody can talk about this if you don't really believe in it. With a very, very small marketing budget, I think we have achieved something. When I talk to, customers, what do you understand? What do you know about Ayesha? Often it comes back, okay, we make nice jewelry, but what comes back, it's about girl power, it's about self-worth. And I'm very proud of that we have managed to get that connect beyond the product. And I think that's very important to build a brand.
All right. I'll now move to this celebrity panelist that we have, Vishak, who's, I'm told in this fashion forum, in 11 panels, out of which 7 he is moderating. So thanks, Vishak, for joining our panel. Well, quickly, can you list 3 reasons why you think your stores, what do they stand for, and what do they stand for the consumer?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I have...
we can understand.
This is not me, this is my hologram here, okay? I'm in another panel right now. First, let's understand this whole difference between offline and online. Online actually offers some amazing things thanks to technology. It can offer convenience, it can offer choice, variety of unimaginable magnitude. You want an overcoat in the middle of summer in Delhi, okay? In the old world you couldn't get it, but now you can thanks to online. Unfortunately, the only reason why today most people buy online is because of discounts. And hence, the comparison that we have today is not fair because there is a huge discount-driven behavior which is driving online. Hopefully, it's only a cost of customer acquisition, and over a period of time, the industry will evolve to have other benefits like convenience and variety as the reasons. The physical world, I think, it's not about, first of all, let's get the numbers right. 93% of all fashion sales in India are offline. Okay, it's only 7% online. There is a huge amount of entertainment value to shopping in a physical store. There is an experience. You want to get married, you want to buy a suit for your wedding. I think it's an entire experience in itself. People come with their family, they check it out, they stand on a place where they can be photographed, they send it to their friends, what do you think? It's an entire experience. And look, let's not kid ourselves. We need to do something good with our time. Okay? So it's not as if, oh my God, I don't have time to buy my wedding suit, let me buy it online. I have lots of time to buy it online. I would love that indulgence. I would love to try a lot of things. Life is good. I want to experience that as I go along. So I think, and as good retailers, you can make that experience even more enjoyable. We provide 100% assisted shopping. So every customer is assisted by somebody. We have fashion consultants who tell you what, with lots of experience, who tell you what to buy. So I think there is lots of good things happening for good old physical stores.
So in your stores, people are so happy buying wedding shoots, they keep coming back for every wedding of theirs.
Every wedding.
That's the experience you're delivering.
Yeah, the brother's wedding, the other brother's wedding, the cousin's wedding, the best friend's wedding, and perhaps for some, their second wedding as well,
All right. So Anand, what about you? From a very different category, what does, for your category, what does the store stand for? What is the proposition?
Yeah, as this Easybuy is a part of Landmark Group, and I think it's a physical, brick and mortar answer to reach as many pin codes. So end of the day, when in online we keep hearing about pin codes, I think Easybuy is a landmark answer to reach as many pin codes as possible. But the toughest challenge that we have is we have a very tight express model. It's a 5,000 square foot family store. We give practically everything in terms of family, right from footwear to kids to men, women, everything. So one side we have online challenge, we have a huge variety. Other side, it's a constraint in terms of variety. So how we are differentiating in our proposition is that definitely in any value player, the first differentiation anybody will say is price. Right? But in today's world, omni-channel world, I think only price customers are not going to come to your store. Definitely experience will play an important role. And we are more largely present in the tier 2 and smaller markets, predominantly, apart from metros. So there they experience, the shopping therapy, as Vishak was saying, that customer don't have much of entertainment options. So hence for them coming to a retail and doing that shopping experience is very important. But having said this, there are many choices. So how do they come to our store? So very clearly, we give them an experience in terms of value, but giving a more international shopping environment, which is very important for that customer, number one. Number two, we have a very curated range. So again, the old theory of 4 Ps, product, price, and place. And so it's for us the product in terms of creating that one up in everything. So our products are little value added in fashion part of it. Apart from that, price is definitely given because we are a values player. And then the differentiated experience that we give to the customer in terms of the way the shopper is greeted and the way we take to the customer. And we are also doing in terms of creating greater engagement with the customers. So we have, for example, recently we concluded an event called the Face of Easy-Buy, okay, where we, in that particular town, we ensured that we had a campaign, which is a 360-degree marketing campaign that we run, where we build community. We had a completely 100% online registration. We called those customers to the store. We had an engagement with the customer. It was all kids. It's a Face of Easy-Buy for kids, basically. And then we had a fashion show with multiple rounds. And the finale, the winner, was part of our marketing campaign. So that's how I think we have built a community. So I think each and every element plays an important role, how you engage with your customer and able to bring to the store. So I think engagement will play a very important role, apart from price, which definitely discount and everything is quite evident in the market.
Rajesh, your brand is iconic. Some of the products, a polo shirt from your brand is staple. I don't know what percentage of your business is that, but staple, you choose the color. The colors are also, sometimes repeated over seasons. Why would somebody come to a store?
Sure. So before answering that question, I would pick it from the perspective that why we are talking about physical stores only. See, if somebody had asked me about 5 years back, I think all of us, we were talking about online or offline, or online versus offline. But today, I think everybody knows that it's online and offline, because everybody has recognized that in a country like India, both these great channels of distribution will coexist, will support each other, and will complement each other. Now, having said that, what has happened is that online, when it entered India, although of course it started building on, capitalizing on the discounting and those kind of things, where it, instead of selling the experience, it started making the entire product as a commodity. But it also did some good things to offline guys like us. It gave us a big jolt. It made us think about the way we were doing business earlier. And that is the reason, I think, perhaps why we are all sitting here and talking about that, why should the consumers come to our physical stores, or how should we attract them? Now, to think about that, if you think in a country like India, where the economy is growing, or it was growing, now, what happens? All of us are very, very busy. We have a very busy schedule. We all look for a vacation on a weekend, a 3 to 4 hours of vacation. Earlier, we used to go to different shops, then online came and stopped that visit to the market. But today, the consumers, they go to a mall in an air-conditioned environment. They get shopping, they get entertainment, they get food, they get kids' play area. All those things bring them to the malls or those shopping places, and in a nice air-conditioned environment where they don't have to worry even about the parking. Now the question comes, how that footfall should be brought into your stores? And how should we, or how are we able to attract those consumers to our physical stores? So for us, I think apart from the normal routine things, or very usual, very visible things like your shop should be in the right place, it should be visible to the consumer. You should offer a good customer experience. You should have good windows in front of your stores. All those things are definitely required, and there is no one thing that can bring the customers to your store. All of these things are required. But what I personally feel that there are 3 very, very important things that we personally actually do those things. One is innovation, second is technology, and the third is design. So when I talk of innovation, we believe in the word innovation from the word go. So as you talked about our polo, you perhaps would be surprised that polo was actually invented by Lacoste way back in 1927 and commercialized in 1933 when all the other brands also caught up with the polo. So the invention or the innovation is the founding stone for our brand. Even today, when we launch our range, we start preparing it for it at least 1 year in advance. And when the launch actually comes, we keep on refreshing the boutiques, refreshing the stock every 1 to 2 months. Now, that brings the consumers to our stores in addition to buying this stuff online also. Online stuff, they would buy those regular products which they know their size, they know how they look on them. But once they come to the store, they're actually able to wear those garments or wear that shoe and see how the fit is, because the fits are different for all the products, even if it's the same size. How that product looks on them, that brings a kind of a consumer experience for which consumer comes to your store. The second part is technology. Again, the technology, as I said, that online actually drove all the brick and mortar retailers to think in terms of being tech savvy. That brought a lot of change in the physical stores. When I talk about technology with the earlier supply chain system or the POS software, etc., they were archaic. Now we are all changing all those things. We are integrating all these methods. Omni-channel is one thing that has been brought now, so that the customer, if he doesn't find the size or the color or the product, that can be arranged and sent to his home or his place. So those kind of technology-driven things are also helping the physical stores in quite a different way, so that the consumer comes and he gets the same experience that he would perhaps get online. In addition to the online commodity, he is also getting the complete experience. The third part is design, and I'm not talking about the design of the products only. When the consumer comes to the store, the design of the entire store, it should be built in such a manner that the consumer feels happy when he's walking inside the store. He is able to browse the products in a very nice manner. He should be able to check out those or test those products, and he should feel happy about it. So these are a few things that I feel are very, very important to bring the customers to your stores. I personally am very, very convinced that it's not the product which is attracting the customer to your brand or to online or to offline. It's the complete shopping experience that the customer is looking at. And that experience can only be given by the physical stores.
Okay, Ramneek, you...
Long one.
That's all right. Ramneek, you co-founded a company which today is probably a great use case of the need for physical retail, because Lenskart started e-commerce as an e-commerce platform, and then you guys thought the need of opening stores. So what do you see the stores stand for you?
In our case, we started as a pure play online platform, and along the journey what we found is that there are several touch points, there are several areas where consumer needs physical touch points. That's where we introduce stores. So the way we see it is that it's a whole consumer journey, and stores play an important part in that journey at different aspects. So if you roughly divide the experience between pre-purchase, the actual purchase, and post-purchase for a customer, in our case, the pre-purchase experience is browsing products online, shortlisting what they have liked, and then at other times, people like to visit the store. Some of them like the touch and feel. Some of them want to try glasses on their face, how they look about, and what is the right size for them. Like if I mention in the audience how many know about a 34-inch waist pant, everyone would be able to say what it means. But in glasses, as an example, there is no standardization. So the size fit is a very important one, and for that, some people are more comfortable buying it offline rather than trying it online via our augmented reality tool. Then post that, there is also the component of post-purchase, which is a big part of the journey, which is in case there is a tweak needed in the glasses or there is some return or repair which is required, stores play an important part over there. So for us, it is a whole omni-channel experience, beginning from browsing products to trying it out in stores to converting a purchase and then looking at after sales and service.
Okay. I get back to you, Vineeth, on this. You said, once you said outside that the brands have forgotten how do they use the brand stores? What do they stand for in the stores in some ways? Some of the heritage brands.
You
right?
know, I must admit that we are possibly standing at the cusp of a very big change, and many of the traditional brands in India are refusing to look at it.
Can you name them?
No, I've no point in naming brands. I'm saying most of us as traditional brand marketers, because inertia is something that we find very difficult to, overcome. If you look back, 5 years up in this online, offline, what is omni-channel? The bottom line is consumers have changed. And they are and we had various marketing jargons that we used earlier. In the 90s, actually the 80s, the biggest brands in India, Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Allen Solly, Arrow, Color Plus, all these brands were formed at a point in time when the Indian consumer went through a dramatic change. This was in the mid-80s when television came to India. When television came to India, many of the Indian consumers who looked at the television suddenly realized that the newscaster from BBC or wherever was wearing a shirt completely different from what he thought was a formal, great-looking shirt. We called it demonstration effect. And then there were brands that came into India or were created in India that filled that need gap. That is exactly what's happening today. You're now at a point in time when you're seeing this huge explosion of young India. We say 70% of us are below 27. They're consuming possibly the largest amount of data in the world, more than the US, I'm told. They're consuming content. They're seeing, and these are what we like to call either the new age kids who are getting strongly influenced by various things. They're not shopping with their wallet. They're shopping with their heart. There's a talk about them being pushed. I mean, brand values for them are important. They want to know what the brand does rather than they buy into an experience. We can go on about discounting online, offline, but price, we all know, is not a sustainable competitive advantage. No company, no business was ever built on price as a competitive advantage. So the simple premise in this whole exercise that we need to potentially look at is, what is it that we do to a changed consumer or a changing consumers, and how are we as a brand going to be relevant enough? We need to be, he's consuming information digitally. I'm not saying online. He's consuming it digitally. Are you providing him the information he needs? He wants to experience stuff. Can you make him experience it online or offline? Can you make him like you as a business rather than as a product? These are questions that we need answers to, rather than get stuck up in, we've got this amazing bag that I hold it at the counter and I've got RFID reader. The bottom line is, we have to look at technology from two aspects. One, as an exercise in which we believe we are improving customer experience or making operational efficiencies. That is what most of us do. The second part of looking at digital is to try and understand if I can build a long-term sustainable model by understanding my customer who is at multiple points in his life journey. It's a dynamic proposition. Earlier in the days, SEC, A1, MHI, so much in this city, in this town. That doesn't exist anymore. The customer is driven by a changing demographic and psychographic profile. So I think it's a huge change that's expected.
Well, I think that's a great, I would say, ground well set, because, brands have to today realize that it's a multi-channel commerce and media platform, because consumers are discovering product information, leaving data behind, and I think to see a channel like just a commerce platform or a shopping platform is not how things will be in future. But my question to you guys openly is that we want to leave behind something for the audience. And while we talk all of this, that, this is what this channel should stand for, it is about experience, it's about not just commerce, and that's more or less coming out, that, multiple platforms, it's multi-category, multi-channel, and each stand for something, and the consumer then decides what he wants to consume, where, right? And that's more or less what we are saying. But examples of something that has really worked in this process, you know, whether it is you go to a store and there is an experience that you felt that this really is something great, or something left behind, or you know, you found an example where customers discovered you online, came and did the commerce in the store because it stood for something. So quick, I mean, because if we can just do this quick, then we can get in more such examples.
See, I would like to take this. See, first of all, when you take about the customer seeing something online and visiting the stores, I think we see it almost every day basis, because customers see the product because they would, and then they would like to come to the store, check the product, how it looks on them, the fit, the fabric, all those things make a difference. One very interesting thing that I'll tell you, when the customer comes to the store, what we did a couple of months back is we placed tablets in some of our stores to show, we have our own e-commerce site, www.lacoste.in. And we wanted to expose that site to the customers who are visiting the store so that they can also buy online. What we experienced is that we failed miserably on that. The customers, when they walk into the store and we tried to show them our digital flagship to them, they would browse, but they would not have any interest. They say, I want to see the product. That's why I come to the store. So that's an interesting experience that we have seen.
I think as one of the strong examples that I get very inspired, and I feel that somebody's been maintaining consistency, and you feel that the customers are literally flocking to the store and they don't have a online presence. I think this Primark is one great example, where they don't have a loyalty program. So no loyalty program, no CRM. When they ask what is CRM, what is loyalty program, so they don't have anything called CRM. They don't have an e-commerce platform even today in a very competitive and developed market. They don't have any of those things. They have only three things. Product, which is a differentiated product. We know the consumer go and they connect with Primark when they see something which is innovative, which they connect with the customer. The product that connects with the customer. Second is the experience, that they get the in-store experience. And third is the delightful price. I think these three things make the customer stand in front of a Primark even before the store opens. So I think that's one a global example of how consumers are coming in, and how these three simple things, which I was selling before also, product, which is a differentiated product, and then you have an experience, you have to engage with your customer, and then the price. Definitely today the consumers are more value conscious and they're looking for great value with delightful prices. I think these three combinations is something that I think going forward, you can see a lot of the Indian market is moving towards value space. But with value, I think the engagement and connecting with customer will become more important.
Well, I don't know whether I can say that what we are doing is resulting in a great increase of sales, but it definitely has built an image of a brand, which then ultimately will go back to sales, hopefully. So what we do, other than having cheaper prices and having a good location, etc., we try, as I said before, to tap into the emotional state of our customer. So how do we do this? We give a sticker to everybody who comes into the store and ask them to talk about that. We offer them a range of stickers, and then the sales executive will say, which one do you identify with? So immediately there is a conversation happening. And that conversation, I think, will stay with the customer much longer than he walks into a store, liked an earring, didn't like an earring, and went out again. Bought it, didn't buy it. So first of all, the emotional connect is staying with you, and then a sticker, no girl will throw away a sticker. And if it's a cute pink sticker, definitely nobody will throw it away. So it will be put on whatever. I've seen it on laptops, on bikes, on toilet seats, on wherever. And there's a permanent brand recall. And even if you take it out and think, should I throw it away, there's a brand recall. And at a very, very minimal cost. So that's something, and I think another thing which we work very well with is our social media posts, our Instagram and our Facebook posts, which don't necessarily, drive the sale to the e-commerce or to the store, but it works again on the same thing because it taps into it doesn't only show the product. It's not that our social media sites will have every day another product and today it costs only 200 rupees or 100 rupees or whatever. It has, again, something which is connected to the emotional connect to your customer. And that's how we build that brand. And as I said, we don't have much money for marketing, but we have done very, very well with that. And we do, for example, we do a coloring calendar. We have done a notebook this year on the theme of self-love, which is a big topic, I think, at the moment for everybody. And so I think this is our customer. I mean, the young girl right now is all about, herself, her emotional state. If you have another customer who's into whatever, you need to find that emotional connect to tap in there rather than, only having and I think all the big brands do that. I mean, Lacoste definitely has done that. I mean, Diesel is doing that. Louis Vuitton is doing that. What do you feel when you buy that brand? I mean, when you buy Diesel, you feel cool. If you buy Louis Vuitton, you feel cool and rich. If you buy a Lacoste shirt, you feel very classy. So what do you feel when you buy an Ayesha earring? You feel like, there's that young, hip girl who I speak to. So I think more than anything, but then that works on the e-commerce side also, because if you're a brand, it's a little bit more difficult to bring that across. But finally, the customer who's looking for me on Myntra, because I'm not on top, because I don't have most, but they look for Ayesha on Myntra. And because of what? Yes, because of my product, but because of, the brand recognition also.
All right. Everybody else, I think a quick anecdote on something that has worked.
So for us at Lenskart, it is about bridging the consumer journey using technology. So like similar to what Rajesh mentioned, several people come to stores and we don't have all the catalog available at the store. So what we started doing now is that when you walk into a Lenskart store, the salesman already knows your shortlist, what you have browsed online, and what of those pieces are available in the store, so that they can give it to you for trying them out real time. And moreover, if there is a piece that you like and you are not able to buy because it is not available at the store, what we do is we allow them to obviously see different sizes, colors, etc. But other than that, we also create a 3D avatar of the person then and there, so they can try it on our iPad tablets across the store. So that is something that has had a big conversation point with our customers.
All right. I think I'll open it up for others, but I think one thing that in India we haven't done enough is store events, where, people, and that happens very, very successfully outside India. Like, for example, Apple would do a lot of their events, like calling musicians to come and jam in the store, use Apple Music, the same thing with photography. Something that in India, I think store events is something, getting influencers, getting the right kind of audience to come in and build a community in the store and actually experience and build a community together, I think.
I'll just add to that, actually.
Yeah.
That stems from the single fact of us trying to figure out who our consumer is, trying to look for lookalike consumers, because we are able to analyze them constantly. We are looking at them dynamically, and more importantly, figuring out how to create events for them. The idea is you need to be able to stimulate growth or stimulate activities that generate a joy for your consumer. So the key is that constantly looking at who that consumer is, looking at lookalikes, looking at where you can find them, and doing stuff that he wants, because he wants an experience. He's not buying a product, he's buying an experience in many ways. Just adding to that point.
Let me give you some examples, Abhishek. We all buy ready-made clothes. And yet, how ready-made are these really? When you buy trousers, you want an alteration for trousers. If you're in the physical store, you want it instant. Okay? And yet, I'm sure you can ask the audience, how many do you really get instant alterations? You know, aap kal aa jaiye, sham ko le lijiye, and so on and so forth. So one of the things, let's say we did in Alan Solly was to say 20-minute alteration or free home delivery. Okay? And it worked beautifully. We could alter most garments within 20 minutes, and for the others, we were happy to deliver it home for them. But it gave the consumer an opportunity to get an instant product, okay? And we would actually say, have a coffee with us, have a hot coffee before you can finish it, your altered garment. And we've trained our tailors. Now we can do a bottom hem within 8.5 minutes. So it really works for the consumer. You had added value to the consumer. Similarly, for a lot of wedding buying, suits, there is a fine-tuning of the suit required, you know, where there is a resident expert tailor who has to do that for you. All of this, the theater can be much more enhanced if you do it immediately. And you bring that joy of, you know, taking a truly ready-made garment or at least an instant purchase rather than having to do iterations.
Yeah, great. I'll open it up to you guys. I mean, you've got a very rich experience here, you know, so somebody who's got a rich you know, offline experience and, you know, now running one of the largest fashion platforms, somebody running Head-Easybuy, you have the CEO of Madura, you have somebody running Lacoste, co-founder of Lenskart, you know, somebody heading Ayesha. So there's a very rich experience here. But I think even before you ask questions, I would say keep it a bit different. If there is any feedback that you want to give, that you went to somebody's store of people who are here and you felt that there is something good, bad, or something which is up to the mark or not up to the mark, right? Feel free to not just ask questions, but if there is an insight that you can give, a feedback that you can give, maybe there is something that all of us can learn from here. Yeah.
And I think, Abhishek, you forgot to mention the head of Puma also.
Yeah. So I was trying to avoid the feedback, but honestly, but seriously, if there is some insight that comes out, so that you join the conversation and not just by asking questions from a very rich panel, which of course you can do. So I open it up to you guys. Yes, please. Somebody needs to give him the mic. Yes.
I can give a feedback to Lenskart. I wear glasses with power, power glasses, and once it broke, and I went to the Indiaretailing store, and sorry, I have a bad throat. So that guy said, like, it takes 1 week to get the glass to replace the glass because it comes from Delhi. And for somebody like me who wears glasses all the time, for an immediate this thing, I stopped going to Lenskart and walked across the street to Vision Express. They gave me in like the next day. So maybe
Sorry
your
to do
logistical
this to you,
issue.
Ramneek. I mean,
You know, I think-
if you have problems with Puma shoes, you can tell me as well.
Like glass is something which I can't live without. So,
Yeah, fully agree with you. Sorry, what's your name?
Unmesh.
Okay, hi. So, fully agree with you. And right now, the reason why our glasses come from Delhi is that we have a fully automated facility, and it is a medical product, and we want to.
But as a customer, that doesn't.
I agree.
Matter to
So, what we are doing now is, we are reducing the delivery times on that. And as we'll go forward, what you'll see is we'll start offering same day and 2-hour deliveries across our platform. But we are building it very carefully because at the end of the day, it is a medical product, and we want to ensure that our supply chain is in place before we do it.
Anybody is wedding trousers store, you know, Vishak?
Abhishek, you've been very unfair.
Hi, my name is Nikhil. I work for an accessories brand. I head e-com for them. It's just a little longer line. I started my career with the hospitality group where the major concern was always the wow factor with the service, okay? I understand that physical stores are extremely, extremely important, but how can you create that wow factor inside the online and digital space, and adding to his point, including service recovery, so that it's more, of course, online is always, less margin, operate under less margins also. So that's always a little beneficial. So that's why I'm concentrating on the fact that how can you include that wow factor online? Is there any ideas or what can we do
Online or offline?
Online,
Said
online.
online.
Offline, there's so many things you can do. There's endless opportunities. But online, I think we're very restricted with a lot of things.
You asking somebody in specific? Or?
I'm asking the whole panel, including the one
Okay.
from Puma.
Vineeth
So-
will respond to this, I think.
Yeah, I can also add to it once, Vineeth, you please complete your.
Now, you were talking about creating an excitement online. Is that what you're talking about?
Kind of, but let me just put it, you have that comment card where you tick mark exceeding expectations. I think that's missing in online right now.
Sure. Now, from an online perspective, different customers look for different experiences. But what you possibly are talking about is what commonly is referred to in the online space as gamification, where you can create an event around it which creates a wow factor, is one specific route. So, for example, many companies do multiple acts of creating events around the product itself. The question was around the product. So, for example, a product free, we ran something on Agio some time back. It was called Gas, the brand Gas. That's a part of the Reliance Foundation, Reliance Business, sorry. And we ran Gas free for 30 seconds. Now that product was available online at a specific point in time, free for 30 seconds. So it created that hype around it. There were influencers around it. There was gamification around it, where you could practice how to pick a style, apply the coupon, lump it into your cart, make your payment all in 30 seconds. So there were guys practicing. So this is one small example of how you can create an impact around a brand online. Offline, like you said, you could even burst crackers. So that's possible.
See, I would like to add here, and I am a brick and mortar retailer predominantly, and we are listed on a few sites in India also, and very few select sites which we consider are premium, offers us non-discounting, non-counterfeit kind of an environment. Within those sites, within those e-commerce marketplaces, we're also listed on Tata Click Luxury Wing. That experience is completely different. And just to give you an example, we don't believe in discounting. We give discounting only during end of season sale period. And that discounting is exactly the same across the channel. However, in the last end of season sale, we could not offer the same discounting on Tata Click Luxury, what we were offering on our offline or other channels. Despite that, consumers preferred, many of the consumers preferred to still buy on Tata Click Luxury. The reason was the experience that we all are talking about, the consumer experience, the kind of premium environment that is there on the site, the kind of packaging that they do, kind of delivery that they do. That's a complete different shopping experience that brings that wow factor to the customer who is willing to forego that additional discount and still buy on that platform. So the wow factor, in my view, also comes a lot from the consumer experience, even if it is online. In fact, we are learning a couple of things from them, how to deliver our products, how to create that environment on our own website.
All right, here.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I have one small suggestion, rather question I can say. Like you said that when it comes to alteration, the always customer wants to pick very quickly. The one thing I noticed that when you go for alteration, the quality is very, very bad. Whether you buy Ellen Solly or Louis Philippe or buy a shirt of 500 rupees or 1000 rupees in any store, the tailor quality is almost same. So the quality when you buy a Louis Philippe shirt or Louis Philippe pant generally shirt so you can't alter. But when it comes to pant, when you buy a pant of Louis Philippe, then the alteration should be also at the same quality rather than just like a very, a bad type of tailoring. And I can suggest that something like you should do some hand stitching rather than just a machine stitching, because the quality of the pant goes when you buy such a good, even you give next day also, we don't get that quality. So I think that very important that when you alter something, you should maintain the same quality what you maintain as a brand. That's very important to have a very good experience to buy a brand quality of
Couldn't
shirt or
agree
pant.
more with you. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
All right. With this, I would like to conclude the discussion. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you so much.